Okay. Well, first of all, Oprah, again, welcome to South Africa. Congratulations.
Welcome. I think this is my 29th or 30th time here. So, yeah. I feel
it never
like
gets old.
Never gets old.
Yeah. What do you say, though? Because it's a beautiful moment. It's a moment of celebration. It wasn't always like that. What do you say to people who criticize or naysay and say, the school would be nothing more than a flash in a pan?
Oh, did people say that?
In the beginning?
Oh, well, people have no idea of my tenacity or the, commitment that I've made. Once I commit to something and I am full-hearted, have a full-hearted desire to see it work, oh my goodness, I don't know what it would have taken to actually cause me to quit. Actually, there are a lot of times when I thought, oh gee, is this worth it? And the answer always came back in my spirit, 1,000% worth it. This is not just a school. And I really don't care about what the naysayers say, because most of the people who criticize this, they haven't done one damn thing for anybody other than themselves in life. You know what it takes to sacrifice your time, your effort, your energy? Not to mention the enormous amount of financial sustainability required to run this school. You look around this school. Everything, every floor, every door, every air condition, every shoe, every sock, every single thing, every teacher, every salary, everything comes from my foundation. My foundation is another word for me. And that's the smallest part of it. It's the hours I'm on the phone, I'm up in the middle of the night, I'm talking to the girls, I'm texting. There's a problem going on with a girl. I call the social workers, who are the backbone of this school. Not only are they social workers, but the social workers of the school, these are the 4 or 5 of them, have visited every single home of every single girl in this school. So I have not a moment's time to waste on people who were criticizing it, because I held the vision for what this could be. And this isn't about a school. You know what this is? This is an investment in building leaders. And by building leaders, I created assets for girls that go beyond their bodies. In African countries, in developing countries, in poor countries throughout the world, whether it's Africa or Asia, even the United States. If a girl doesn't have an education, the only thing she has to offer the world is her body. And so you have to create an opportunity for girls to have assets that go beyond their bodies. And the biggest mistake that people make when they're dealing with children or anybody coming from dysfunction or disadvantage, they assume that your circumstances define who you are. And what this school and the matric tests, and not just the matric, but the fact that 100% of every girl has been accepted into college proves, is that you're not your circumstances. You are your possibilities. And that what happens is, and I've seen it in South Africa, I've seen it in other places in the world, I've even seen it in the United States, that when you come from, quote, disadvantaged backgrounds, that people speak in an emotional language that's as though you have a disease. When somebody knows somebody's sick, they start whispering and they say, oh, are you all right? And you have to fight that within a system that has lower expectations from you because you come from a, quote, lower economic background. We did the exact opposite here. That's why we're so successful.
You're saying you turned it on its head. The point is, it has, as you've said in the interviews before, and as you're just saying now, it's taken a huge, not only financial investment, it's a personal investment from your side. How do you see fueling that in the years ahead? How do you intend to keeping this going?
Well, it's taken an enormous financial investment, but it's also taken an emotional investment on just, the spirit of Ubuntu is absolutely all over this school, in that it is because we are, that the school exists. I didn't do this. It's because I was finally able to build a team that could support it. And so the way I intend to, what this was for me all along was a model for what could be done. You looked at what worked and looked at what didn't work. You look at how much it costs to run it. You know that that's not sustainable long term unless you have a corporation or somebody like myself who's willing to do that. So You take the ideology, you take what you've learned in terms of building a family of support for girls, and you take that information and you use it in schools, in places all over the world. You take girls from disadvantaged circumstances and you place them in environments or schools or infrastructures already existing, and you help build and expand that in such a way that you don't have to build from the ground up. You don't have to start from scratch.
So what's the next step? They've done their matric. You've talked about 100% acceptance into a tertiary institute. Who funds that? Who makes that happen?
Well, all of these girls have gotten scholarships for themselves. And that's pretty exciting, because they come from backgrounds that qualify them to get scholarships.
You feeling like a proud mommy?
I am a proud mama. And so what's next is, it's not enough just to get into the schools. What is necessary is for them to be able to succeed in the schools. And we had a team of a college counselor for the girls in South Africa and one for the United States, where we're literally trying to find the school the best suit the girl, so that that girl can have the best chance of succeeding. I have also created a support team within South Africa to help the girls when there's phone calls about what to do about finances and how to manage their money and how to, get things that the school has provided all of these years, So I have...
It's not like you just built the school and you letting it manage itself, this little school somewhere in dusty Africa. You are in touch, you're involved every step of the way.
Well, first of all, anybody who thinks it's just a little school in dusty Africa doesn't understand anything about leadership building. This was about an investment in leadership, because every single one of these girls was going to walk across that stage in those white dresses. My idea, by the way.
Why?
Because when I was at one of the great American schools, speaking at a college, at Wellesley College, which one of our girls is actually going to Wellesley. Hillary Clinton went to Wellesley. And I was doing the graduation, and the girls came up in their white dresses. I thought, oh God, I wish I could have done that.
Angelique.
I wish I could have done that. So these girls are having the graduation that I wished I could have had. So this is the thing, though. I didn't know until this year. I was sitting in a board meeting here in June, and I was saying, gee, I think we need to start talking about graduation. And Ann Venzel said, the head of school, she goes, well, we don't do graduations in South Africa. I go, what do you mean you don't do graduation? She says, there's not a graduation ceremony in high schools in South Africa. Well, I wish somebody had told me that. The reason we're having a graduation is because from day one, when these girls entered the school, I said, girls, I can't wait to see you walk across the stage in your white dresses. So I'm sitting at a board meeting in June, and they say, well, that's not what we do in South Africa.
You've been bound by convention, have you?
No, that's not what we do.
Speaking of which, though, you created this girls' school, this haven. What about a boys' school? People are asking, they just want to know. Do you think there might be a boys' school sometime?
I can't do a boys' school. I can't do a boys' school. And the reason why I can't, because I don't know anything about raising boys. I think I would literally, that would be the thing. I'm living on the edge now. Yeah. That would be the thing that would take me over the edge. Listen, I'm telling you, 400 teenage girls, that's about push me to the wall. Okay?
That's drama right there.
Drama! All the time!
Yeah. I'm sure it has been an emotional roller coaster ride, and it speaks to your tenacity that you're still here, years later, seeing this project to fruition. Just as an aside, the school is in South Africa. We can't ignore what's happening in South Africa. What is it, when you look at this country, that worries you most?
I would have to say this, and I would say this to anybody who is dealing with their own personal philanthropy, whether you're helping one person or 100, is that if you look, if you start looking at the broader picture of everything that needs to be done and all of the difficulties that need to be overcome, you will give up. You will just throw up your hands and you do nothing. So I don't focus on anything outside this campus, and that is the truth. I focus on what is within the walls of my ability to control. And I try to offer the girls the best education possible here through all of the teachers, and I don't worry about what's going on in the rest of the country. That is the real truth. Because if I did, you would just say, well, this is happening and that's happening, and oh my God, and this is the infrastructure so bad and the leadership and that. You would give up.
Do you think the girls have managed to have a sense of realism with that outlook? Do you think they're still connected and plugged in?
Oh yeah, they read the papers every day, and they're very plugged in to what's going on in our country, and they have some very definite ideas about, what happens in this country and what the standards are for the country. I mean, I was listening to a debate that they were doing. I just happened to, as I was walking through the classes, and they were debating about the standards for test scores being lowered and what that means for education in South Africa. And it's very interesting, their ideas, because they understand, too, that the principle of lowering the expectations or lowering the bar so that more people can come through ultimately doesn't help the whole. It lowers the bar for everybody. So what we have been able to do here is to raise them to understand that there is no bar. There is no bar. The ceiling is in your own mind.
Excellence is what you define.
Yes, and not only because that's what we say, that's what we believe, that's what we teach, but because I really have said to them from the beginning, this is a special class. Most of these girls were born in the year that Nelson Mandela was freed and apartheid ended in this country. I mean, just the fact that you were born free in South Africa as the very first generation of free women. Free women, you get to make the choices and decide for yourself who you will be in the world. I say to them all the time, my God, do you understand that your ancestors never even imagined the life that you're going to be able to create for yourself?
You've created such independent-minded women on this campus. Do you think that the men in South Africa, in Africa, who can, in some circumstances, lean towards patriarchy, are ready for this? Do they understand that a strong woman equals a strong relationship, equals a strong country?
Well, they better get ready. I got to say this, they better get ready. Because these girls, this is what's so interesting about them. They balance the worlds, They balance the worlds between being in the school, building confidence, being able to assert yourself, having a voice, defining yourself as a woman. You have as much rights, you deserve as much respect. And then you go back into a patriarchal environment where you have to serve your father in a round of all and, on your knees. So they strike a fabulous balance with that. What the school has given them is more than an education, and more than academics, more than matric. It has given them the confidence to believe that they deserve, and not only deserve, but are worthy. You are worthy of success. And that's what's missing for most people. A lot of people think they deserve to have the best. They say, I deserve to have the best. I deserve the good. That's why I'm going to spend this money on these shoes. But they don't really believe that they are worthy of it. And that's what this education has been about.
We're here in South Africa, also plugged into American politics. We follow Barack Obama. Obviously, he was first black American president. How much of his presidency, Oprah, do you think, and his future prospects are being shaped and defined by his race?
Oh, I think that from the very beginning, when I endorsed Barack Obama, I said, I am coming out in support, and I still hold this to be true. I'm coming out in support of Barack Obama, not because he's black, but because he's brilliant. So I don't think that he allows it to be a part of anything that certainly shapes his decisions or shapes his ability to lead as the president of our country. And I don't think that it plays a role.
Oprah, you have defined, you've influenced broadcast media, you've groomed talent, and we think Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, both of which air here in South Africa. The question is, where are the black gifted prodigies?
Well, I would have to tell you, it took me, 15 years to discover Dr. Phil. And shortly, maybe 5 or 6 years after that, was Dr. Oz. In the process of Dr. Phil, you may remember, I was also working with a woman named Iyanla, and was trying to develop, Iyanla as a show. And we actually had her back on the show, and we discussed this. And she chose to go to work for somebody else at the time. I'm now in the process of developing a show for Iyanla, who I think is one of the brilliant life coaches, spiritual leaders, counselors in the world. And she happens to be black. But I don't go around looking for people because of their race. I go around, again, I'm looking for their brilliance, I'm looking for their gifts, I'm looking for what they have to offer. And as you know, the story of Dr. Phil is, had I not been on trial and experienced him firsthand, that whole process of putting him on the show would probably have never happened. So,
would you look beyond the US? Would you look in Africa? Would you look in South Africa?
I am looking for talent, Iman. I have a network. That means not one show, but 24 hours, 7 days a week to fill. So I am not defined or diminished by race in any way. And so if you can give me a person, show me a person who's talented, who wants to do the work and has a brilliant idea, I am open to receive.
You've heard the descriptions of yourself: media mogul, philanthropist, trailblazer in many ways. I want to know, and I'm sure a lot of people who love you and follow your career want to know, when you go to bed at night and you think about how you'd like to be remembered and what your legacy is, what description of yourself springs to mind?
Really good questions, actually, may I say?
You're welcome.
Good. The truth is, Iman, when you go to bed at night, no matter how, I can't imagine anybody else who is also, known in the world or famous. You're not thinking about how you want to be remembered. You're just thinking about, am I tired, am I not, and how long is it going to take me to get to sleep? When I did this school in 2007, and I was so excited, and I remember saying to my friend and mentor, Maya Angelou, I said, oh my God, this is my legacy. This will be my legacy. And Maya said to me, you have no idea what your legacy is. How can you know what your legacy is going to be? Because the truth is, and this is true for me, and it's also true for you, and it's true for anybody who's watching us right now. Your legacy is the life, is the compilation of the life that you have lived. It is every single thing you have done that touched, empowered, moved, demeaned, not demeaned, hurt, helped anybody. That is what your legacy is. So for me, my legacy is every person who ever watched me and saw the heart of themselves. It's every person who's ever been moved by a story that I told. It's every person who ever heard me say something and decided to go back to school, or decided to take better care of their health, or decided not to hit their children. It's everybody who's ever seen or been affected by anything that I said. And it's a powerful way to live your life that at the end of the day you can say, well done to yourself. I'd say that about this school. First of all, anybody who wants to bet against me must understand this first and foremost. How I see myself? Not really as, I don't see myself as woman first or black, or I don't define myself. I know that I am. I look in the mirror every day. I'm proud of who I am, but it's not how I define myself. How I define myself? Spirit in a body come from God. You cannot defeat somebody who knows who they truly are and where they really come from. So I wouldn't bet against me.
Well, as someone said, great is the man or the woman who knows their own self-worth.
Yeah.
I'm going to end now because people are knocking on the door. You're in big demand, believe it or not, still in South Africa. It's 25 years on, you've had your show, you've done a lot of fantastic things. I mean, you must pat yourself on the back. There are lots of things that you've done. When you look ahead, what is the next big step? Is it mother, perhaps? Is it wife, perhaps? Is it teacher? What is your next big step?
Well, I already have all those roles. I actually, I've been with Stedman for probably, 25 years now. So whether I call myself a wife or not, truly, it feels that way. And it certainly did over the holidays when I was cooking every damn day.
What's his favorite thing?
His favorite thing is whatever I'm making at the time. I will have to say I'm very blessed not blessed, because I wouldn't do it any other way, but everything I make, he acts like it's the most exciting thing he's ever made. I mean, so I know most women don't get that, but it doesn't matter if it's a sandwich. He's like, this is his favorite line. Woo! I never tasted anything like that before. And I go, you just said that the last time. And if I just made, over the holidays, I decided to, do everything myself. I mean, really, after a week, I was like, how do women do this every day? How do you come up with a meal? You just did a meal. You clear the dishes, and now it's time for another meal. Yeah. But his favorite meal is whatever I'm making at the time. I think the last thing I made, I did, I am a spot on. I'm like, whatever is in the refrigerator, whatever's available. I have a garden. So I will go out and whatever's in the garden, whatever herbs are available, whatever that, I figure out a way to make all of that work.
It's always original.
Yeah, it's always original. And he always acts like it's the most amazing thing he's ever had. Yeah.
What a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. And congratulations for your life success and for the girls.
Isn't this big?
It is huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's really huge.
Well done.
Thank you.
News that moves. eNCA.com.